Howdy y'all, Nimby here. Hey, we're going to be doing up a similar scud to the last one we did. This one's a Sparkle Blend Scud. We're starting off with a very small brass bead up front. Going to be tying with olive dun thread today. This is in a 6/0 uni thread, the same as the last couple. You can definitely tie these with a black uni thread or any other thread you have. It doesn't have to be color matching. It just helps everything be a little more consistent. We're going to go just past the barb there, a couple wraps back to lock it in. Hey, there you go. Yeah, I'm trying the dual there, see how it works. Good to have you in, Luca. Okay, we're going to tie in some, what size is this? Just soft copper wire. This one's an older uni copper wire, but any small thin wire will work fine. Are you on phone, Luca, or computer? Yeah, I've been trying to get that working properly for a while now, and it seems to be super buggy. So I apologize if it's being a toot. I think that's in focus. Yeah, good enough. I know there's a way to switch between the vertical and the horizontal. You bet. Yep, interior British Columbia. Okay, we're going to tie in some scud back. In this case, I'm just using this olive. A little bit I got left. You can use Swiss straw, you can use clear. This pattern specifically calls for olive scud back, so we're going to use this one. It's kind of a bit of a yellow, kind of dirty olive, but I think that'll go actually really good with what we're using here, so. Just gonna cut off a hand length or so we can get up in our material clip. Then we're just going to cut a V-notch into the front, tie it into the front of the hook. We're tying this one in kind of backwards. It's going to be pointing up the front of the hook instead of the back. And we'll wrap it over, and the copper wire is going to be what's holding it in. Yeah, I got both running right now. Tell it it's misbehaving and it has to come home. It's past its bedtime. Whoop! It's going great, but I just dropped my material. 1 second. Oh, come on, buddy. Where'd you go? I need you. There it is. 1 second. That's crazy. I can't look north, south, or North Carolina. Either one of them. Either of the Carolinas is getting snow. And how much you guys been getting too is crazy. We got nothing. I got grass in my front yard, which is nuts because normally I would have like 7 feet of snow right now. And I'd be running out of places to put it. Hey, well, it's not pretty, but that'll work. Yeah, it's that new feature they put out where I can have the vertical and horizontal. So if someone's watching on TV, they can switch over to the horizontal. And in theory, both chats should link together. And watch time and everything from the two should link together. Alright. Just gonna clip this over here. It keeps falling out of the clip. Well, that's annoying. I might just leave it hanging there. Bobbin holder's just like right in the way. I agree. And like it completely just ran away from home and just like didn't even consult us on when it should come back. Okay, so we're going to be using this one with like a sparkle dub where it's got some UV sparkle mixed into it and like a very light. I'm having trouble pulling that out of there. Where it's got UV sparkle mixed in. I haven't used this one actually for a scud in a while, so I'm hoping it'll brush out okay, but it has quite a bit longer fibers to it, so it should be good. But we're gonna dub one up here and see how she goes. Hoping some of those green fibers will stick down enough to make this work okay. Find out shortly. I normally do these up in like a dubbing loop with a twister, but just gonna spin it and see how we go. That's probably more than enough. It's probably too much actually, but oh no worries, always a pleasure to have you drop in, even if it's only for a short time. Always good to say hi. Yeah, when they get cold, yeah. We used to have that happen a lot in the apple orchards when we get bad frosts come out of season. The apple trees would literally go off like someone, like a shotgun. And unfortunately, it generally killed the tree. We'd have like lots of trees that were, 80, 75 plus year old orchard trees. And that's how they ended, unfortunately. Actually, this is dubbing on a lot better than I thought it was going to, so this is probably going to work out pretty good. Happy with that. There we go. We got that like random kind of green chunkiness is what we're going for with this pattern. That's what separates this one from the others. I think what I'm actually going to do is just measure this roughly out, cut it off, because it's being a pain in the butts. So I'm going to just cut it off. Right about there, so we got enough. Yeah, it's just the sap in them, right? Freezes quite quickly. Just reaches a point where it lets go, and then yeah, then you end up with a split tree. And the outside bark, especially on fruit trees like apples or apricots and plums and that kind of thing, the outside bark is actually quite strong. I don't know what would be worse, an exploding tree or an iguana. That's funny. They just get too cold and like pass out and fall over. Wonder if sloths have the same problem if they like. I got way too much. This actually dubbed on a lot thicker than I was expecting. So let's separate that. Save that for the next guy. Retwist this up. I'm actually going to back this up just one step here so I can get this twisted together. Just wonder if that's a bit chunky. Let's separate that out. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, I don't want it quite that chunky, so let's bring it down here and get it a little on the tighter side. Watch now, I'll have too much dubbing again. A little thicker in the middle section here, that's a little better. There we be. That's a good amount of dubbing right there. I can imagine that would be quite traumatic for the poor iguana. But I guess, yeah, they're cold-blooded, so if it's cold, they're going to be slow, right? And almost in a cathartic state. That's funny, I never even thought about that. This guy's pretty simple fly, like you just got the dub body, some copper wire. Yeah, it is. It's kind of a nice messy. It's got this like UV, like light green, almost chartreuse color olive, green UV stuff mixed into it. Just makes it extra buggy. And I just want to get that shell back to sit proper. Yeah. Sorry, just let me fight with this guy. There we go. I think I got it good enough. Normally after the first wrap here with the copper, it'll hold itself in. I'm just going to check to make sure I got that somewhat straight on there. Yeah, that looks okay. Yeah, I was hoping that this little bit of kind of yellower... Man, it really just doesn't want to wrap though. The slightly yellower olive, kind of dirty yellow olive casing would look good on it. Oh, did you break? Seriously? It did break. I'm gonna try and snag it in there with this wrap then. It is older, so I guess it's a little on the brittle side. That's okay. We'll bury it in there with some thread. It'll be just fine. It's not going anywhere with all the copper wraps on it anyway. Not ideal, but also not horrible. Yeah, I'm just gonna hold tension with my thread here and bend this left and right. Yeah, I wasn't 100% sure. I was just picking through my materials. I'm like, you know, these would probably look pretty good together. And our scuds definitely get that kind of orangey, yellowy goodness to them. Wow, yeah, that's not as strong as I'd like it to be. Just tore that off. I was gonna cut it off and leave a bit of a tail piece, but I do have this stuff sticking out the back, so that works. I might have to switch that up. I don't know. I might use that for casing for like a nymph, because it's not gonna have much tension on it, but that's not gonna work for me for the scuds. I guess it's just a bit too old. I have no idea how old it is. It's pretty old. It's a little bit discolored, and there's only like this much left. That's okay. We'll just have to go with a different one for the next fly, that's all. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Yeah, it looks good. It's just a little on the brittle side. Sure, if I was a hair gentler with it, as long as the fly is finished tied, it's not going to go anywhere once it's all wrapped down with copper like that. That's the nice thing about tying up scuds, is they can be oogly, they can be beat up, and they work all the better. For whatever reason, that's generally the case. A little bit thicker thread collar there just to keep that scud back tied down. I'm not gonna... Yeah, that's true. Especially synthetics, like you think a synthetic, the naturals actually seem to last a lot longer. Like especially feathers and fur and stuff. It'll Man, how did I get deer hair in here? Need to clean this out. I got a whole bunch of deer hair just floating around in there. I'm not sure how that happened. Cats. Probably cats. Alright, little Sparkle Blend Scud. We're gonna brush that out before I put the head cement on it, just so we don't get any fluff in the head cement. But I want to get a couple of these. Yeah, same with like Tom Thumbs and like things like that. There's certain flies that like the nastier they get, the better they work. And it's a funny thing. It's hard to wrap your head around. As a fisherman, you want everything to be perfect and nice and pretty, but sometimes that's not what actually catches them. Yeah, like you figure, like they always told us when we were kids that the synthetics will last like, until our 10 generations die off or something. But it's funny how quickly synthetics actually fall apart. And they're supposed to be like UV resistant, water resistant, all this stuff. And they're just not. There we go. Nice little legs sticking out of there. Just gonna get that one here just a little bit on the long side. Come on, buddy. Oh. There we go. Yeah, that actually makes pretty good leg scud material, the stuff that's mixed in there. I'd have to mix it, or try to mix it in a little more evenly next time, though. I do like the color of that scud back. Looks really nice. That kind of dull, yellowy olive, but yeah, it's just too fragile. It feels good when I was tying it in, but you put any sort of tension on it, and it's just coming apart. Come on, stop fuzzing out. Yeah, I think that's good. We'll throw some head cement on that, call it good. Do up another. I'll do, why don't we switch over to Swiss straw? I got some nice olive Swiss straw. We'll see how that looks. Got lots of different colored Swiss straw, but this one's, what company is this one? Yeah, that's true. At least I'm up in like, in the part of Canada. I mean, it's generally super dry. I don't have to worry about moisture. And we don't have a lot of bugs either, because we don't have any bugs at all for like 6 months of the year. But when we do get bugs, they come out with a ferocity. Everything wants to live. Yeah, this is the stuff we're going to try next time. It's a little bit more on the olive side, but see how it looks compared to that one. And this is just a Superfly. Even though I'm sure it was repackaged from some other company. Because most fly companies do that. But it has a nice, I will admit, it has a very nice, it feels really strong. It feels good. It doesn't feel old. And it has a nice waxy kind of coating to it. But yeah, we can actually open this up. Get that kind of lighter green on the inside. That should do. Olive. I'm gonna cut off a chunk of that. Go right there. Okay, I know I'm getting ahead of myself here. I'm prepping the next fly before I even got this one out of the vise. Alright, let's, I'll do a quick little spin and spiel here on this guy. He's a little tired, but it's all good. Alright, in the vise we have a Sparkle Blend Scud. This has a olive green Scud back across the top, some Sparkle done mixed, dark kind of brown olive with some green chartreuse UV flex sticking through. Wonderful little pattern with a little brass bead head on there. Great for fall, spring, when there's not a lot of hatching going on, late fall, early spring, and ice fishing. Wonderful little scud. Throw a couple in your box, eh? Yeah, a lot of people do. Craft ribbon's actually super handy. It's honestly surprisingly durable for what it is, really. I always have trouble getting these scud hooks to line up straight. Not that they need to be. I'm not using the rotary. I could use my rotary, but that's a little better. Ooh. Jeez, Nimby, knocking your garbage can everywhere. Okay, let's get some. So let's get our thread tied in here first. So we're gonna do the same dubbing here. Let's put a little thread down behind that bead to hold it in place. Nothing crazy. Get our thread body all the way back to just past the barb. Really? Dude, that's probably like a lifetime supply. It's nice to have a slightly different color, although you can like color them up with markers and that kind of thing, but it's always nice when you have a material that's, you know, already the color that you're looking for sure. Then you can like modify those colors if need be. I'm just gonna open this up best I can here. I'll probably get quite a few flies out of this one chunk. You can definitely, if you need this darker, I'm going for lighter here, trying to get closer to that yellow that we had earlier. But if you do need it a darker shade, you can just double it up or leave it rolled. That's the nice thing about Swiss straws, you can really adjust the coloration on it. It's one side here, I don't know if it's melted together, it just doesn't want to, oh no, it's there, it just doesn't want to roll out. There we go. Well, I have to admit, that's a pretty nice Swiss straw. I mean, it rolls out real nice. Okay, I'm gonna tear off. Yeah, I bet. Okay, I'm gonna tear off about that much, so we're going for the gap height here. And then I'm gonna fold that in half. Or attempt to. There, that actually went better than I was expecting. We're gonna fold it in half just to give it a slightly darker olive. And it also helps the durability a little bit. You can rip a single strand pretty easily. I don't typically cut a wedge into these. I'll cut the end off nice and clean together, and that'll make it a little easier to tie in. But that'll be it. Generally, I don't. Oh, yeah. Before we tie that in, we want to tie our wire in, which I had hiding over here somewhere. There we go. And I mentioned this last stream, but USB copper wire from a USB cable work's a treat for this. It's just like the perfect thickness, and its temper is really good. There's one little, not sure what kind of fabric that's, or, well, it wants to stay there. It's going to stay there for now. Not going to matter. We're covering this up with dubbing anyway. So I get that in my, come on, stay in the material clip. There we go. I'm covering that up in dubbing, so. Yeah, and Swiss Star colors are real nice too, so for the, generally speaking, it takes a marker real well. So if you do need to make it slightly darker or lighter, well, I guess you can't really make it lighter easily, but you know what I'm saying. Okay, so normally when I wrap this in, I'm going to have it towards myself a bit, and then wrap it around. Oh, you're telling me about it. Gosh. Autocorrect with me sometimes when I'm tired. It drives me nuts. Most of the time it doesn't work very well. It's like AI is supposed to take our jobs away, and it can't even spell stuff correctly, or just type in what I'm actually typing in. It's never duck. Okay, so we're going to bring our thread all the way back to tie in there, and we'll wrap up. Just going to smooth up a few little nubbies I got here on the body. Overall, I'm happy with that. Okay, we'll get our wax in, and we'll get some more of that dubbing out. I'm not sure how long one of these tubes lasts, but it feels like I've been using this thing forever. I'm assuming you get a lot of use out of one. I'm going to use my dubbing hook to pull some more out of here. It's a little bit on the thick side, and it kind of rips when I pull it out, and I want to keep longer fibers, so it's a little easier to dub. Yeah, it's ripping. 1 second. Let's see if I can get it pushed back in and back out again. I kind of want a little bit more of the longer fibers in there. It just makes it easier to dub and also brush out. You get nicer little legs on it. Not sure. I think I just got a rather large clump stuck in there. Not too worried about it, but I'll be using this for a couple flies here, so. Yeah, that's really in there. Oh, good enough. That's one of the cool things about dubbing too, is you get like wow, it's really in there. I can barely get my hook in there. You get so many, you can get so many flies out of like one little ball of dubbing. It's kind of crazy. Okay, I want to get more of this green right in the middle here. Not that it terribly matters where it ends up, but that's where the legs are going to be, so I think it'll work better if I try and get it more in the middle. We'll find out. And this dub's real nice, so I don't need nearly as much as I think I did. I probably got way too much on there, but we're going to go with it, see how it dubs up. It makes a really nice noodle. I'm kind of surprised. I'm not sure what this base fur is. It looks like a synthetic. There are some fur fibers mixed in there. I do know that this green sparkle that's in there is extremely UV reflective, so yeah, it's gonna be like 3 times more. That's like way more than I'm gonna need. I'm gonna pull off a good chunk here to start. I need to make another dubbing box. I really enjoy making the dubbing. I used to keep them all in like little zippy bags, but switching over to making these, just everyone's been, there's lots of videos on how to make these dubbing boxes, but I'm switching over to these. I need to organize or label them a little better in some way. When I made it up, I was like, I'll remember where I put what. Yeah, sure I will. I'm just so used to like how certain dubbings wrap, and I made the dubbing myself, so I'm like, I'll remember what that is. But it's like when you get like beaver and muskrat and different stuff all together beside each other, it's kind of like, oh, wow, that's is that muskrat or is that beaver? They look really similar. So yeah, I gotta find a labeling, even just a Sharpie marker, I guess. Doesn't have to be super scientific, right? I could just put B for beaver and M for muskrat. Yeah, that never happens. You have that is a completely unique Luca problem, that's for sure. Oh, geez, sorry, Luca. I totally didn't even hear the bloop bloop about the super chat. Thank you, Luca. I appreciate that, mate. You work hard for all your bones, and you sharing it with me means a lot to me. It really does. I thoroughly appreciate that, man. Now going to the dubbing box fund. Nimby needs a new dubbing box. I got several on the thing. I just got to actually spend the time to try and come up with a thought process and organize it. And kind of wanted this green section to be a little lower, but this is clearly going to be too thick. Okay, let's tear that off about here. Yay! At least autocorrect did something good today. I had twice as much on there as I needed. It's amazing how thick this dubbing dubs. It goes on so nice onto the thread that it feels like it's going to be a thin dubbing and it's going to compress, but actually ends up doing the opposite. There we go. Alright, we'll see how the Swiss straw goes on this one. Oh, that looks really good. Oh, that's a lot better than I was kind of expecting, to be honest. I'll spin it around so you guys can see here in a second. Yeah, that goes really good with that green flex in there. And with this style of scud, I like to leave a little tail on the back end. I normally cut it off on like a 30 degree or so. Yeah, And it takes me a couple flies to kind of get used to whatever the dubbing is, so I can tell how much it's gonna, especially when you're wrapping it with like copper like this after, how much it's gonna compress down. Yeah, which tote has enough room that I can cram this into? That's the right tote. There it is. I really like this little jingle. It reminds me of something. I just can't place what it reminds me of. Okay, so now we're gonna put some tension on this and pop our thread out by mistake. There we go. Get our, wow, thread, come on, stay in there. There we go. Don't think I have enough on that copper to get another fly out of it, so get a new piece next time. Yeah, we'll do a couple half hitches, and that's true. Been enjoying my the ones I picked up at the dollar store actually all stack and work pretty well, and they're just the right size for a lot of material bag sizes, especially for longer feathers. I don't have any handy here, but it doesn't matter because they're all the same. You know, it doesn't matter if you get them at Walmart, dollar store, or wherever you're getting them from. Yeah, that looks clean. I like that. Got a little bit of a fuzz bump going on down here, but I'm hoping that'll brush out and make a good little leg patch for me. Yeah, I'm enjoying that swish straw. That's a nice olive color. Most of the other olives I have aren't quite that. I'm not sure how to even describe that. It's like a waxy kind of olive color. A lot of mine are more day. Okay, yeah, and I normally hold this up. I'm wondering if this is going to work well with it being folded, but find out in a sec here. I normally just hold this up and then cut like that. There we go. That's perfect. So you just want like just a little kick up of a, like that, just so it disturbs the water a bit. Because they have a little shell piece there. They have like a little spot where they jet water out like a, oh, here, I just actually found a scrap of the one we were using yesterday. That's the color we were using yesterday. It's much more brown. Okay, we'll brush that out. One thing I've found that works excellent for dubbing brushes is these 22 gauge bore cleaners. This one's a nylon, but I also have, you know, brass and copper and different flavors. But the nylon bristles on this are incredibly abrasive. They're very aggressive, and they're extremely hard. I can barely bend them. So it works almost like a copper, or it doesn't take much to pull out the dubbing with it. You got to be kind of careful, to be honest. But it works good to get it started and to kind of pull that material out. Then I'll go at it with the softer brush. I'm just trying to break up that one kind of thicker patch right here if I can manage it. And if I gotta cut some of it off, that's fine. There we go. I'll go with the softer brush, just get the finers down, and then I'll cut it off. Don't need anything hanging down past the hook points. Anything past that's gonna get a trim. I didn't get nearly as many of those kind of plasticky fibers as I did the other time. There we go, got a few to come out. There we go. I was expecting more with how the dubbing roll was going. Those make nice little legs, actually. Next time I mix that up, I'm just going to add a lot more of that in. Maybe 20-30% more. Yeah, there she is. Yeah, I like that. So you can see the green a little bit better now. And the back one on there pretty clean. That's a nice little scud. I'm actually quite happy with that one. Now that I'm rotating and having a look at it, it turned out a lot cleaner than I thought originally. Yeah, I like that. And that UV stuff, I don't have a UV light handy here, but it really pops when you get some UV on it. I like the little butt fluff on there. Yeah, overall, that's a really nice little scud. I'm happy with that. Yeah, that turned out a lot cleaner than I was expecting. I don't really try to be terribly clean with scuds just because they really don't need to be. Oh, hey, Doug. Thanks for coming in, mate. Yeah, I'll do a little spin and spiel on that one. Just give me a moment here. And in the vise we have a size 12 Sparkle Blend Scud. This is a Sparkle Blend for the dubbing on it. We use a copper wire to rib it all up, and a little bit of olive Swiss straw along the back for the scud back, and a brass bead up top. Simple little pattern, only 3 materials, and they're super handy in the late fall, early spring, and during ice fishing. Scuds are in the water all the time, so if you're ever in a situation where there's no hatch going on, give a scud a try. They're always in the water, and they're always a reputable food source for trout and lots of other fish. A much looked over pattern, but a wonderful little thing to add to your box, eh? There, I'll throw some head cement on that. But yeah, I'm happy with that one. Just checking all the streaming stuff before we continue here. Okay. I'm actually just gonna take a break. We'll pop this guy out. I'll be back in a minute here. I'm just gonna grab a snack and use the bathroom stuff. I'll be back in about 10 minutes or so, and we'll start the stream back up. Be under the same name and everything. There's a little guy there. Let me get him in the box here. We got 3 more to do. Now that I got a good groove and some materials I like, the next 3 should come by pretty quickly. But yeah, you can see the slight difference, like just changing that scud back. There's the 2 we just did right here. But you can see the slight difference on just changing the scud back, how it changed the whole color, even though the dubbing's the same on either one. And there's the ones we did the other day. There's all ostrich. These ones here are tied with ostrich. And then these ones are the sparkle backs, which I actually really like. They throw a ridiculous amount of light on the camera anyway. Like, for my eyes, they're like a olive, like the same color as the body. But for whatever reason, that micro chenille, or not micro chenille, flash, it just, the green, like the emerald green on it, just throws a ton of light through the UV. So I think that's cool. Those are going to be awesome little attractor dudes. Oh yeah, so we'll just take a little break and I'll be back here. And I'll, for the next stream here, Luca, if you don't mind, I mean, if you're free, jump back in. I'm going to have it just vertical, and you can let me know if it looks any different for you, okay? Appreciate it. Thanks, guys. See you in a few. Yeah, they're a good pattern because you can go all the way up from like caddis larva to like small nymphs and things like that. So they're great.